Right now, too many people are out here living disappointed, thinking their prayers got ignored. They think the delay is a denial. They think silence means rejection. This video is for the person who's losing faith because the answer didn't come when they expected. We're about to fix the biggest misunderstanding people have with God, confusing timing with denial. Let me tell you something real quick. Most people don't lose because life beats them. They lose because they convinced themselves God stopped listening. You prayed, you hoped, you cried about it, and when it didn't show up on your timeline, you said, maybe God told me no, but hold up, you might be wrong about that. Before you walk away, before you talk yourself out of what you prayed for, before you think God closed that door, you need to hear this. All right, lean in for a second because I'm about to talk to somebody who's been praying, waiting, stressing, and now you're starting to think maybe the answer is no. Maybe God closed the door. Maybe he moved on from you. But before you settle on that thought, let me break something down in a way you can't forget. Delay is not denial. The problem is we treat God like a vending machine. We press the button. We want that snack to fall instantly. And if it doesn't, we start rocking the machine like it owes us something. You can't put the creator of the universe on your stopwatch and think silence means rejection. Have you ever gone to a restaurant, ordered your food, and the waiter walked away without saying a word? You don't stand up and shout, I guess he said, no. You don't storm out of the place just because it didn't hit your table in 60 seconds. You sit there because you know the kitchen is working on something you requested. You trust the process because ordering is the first step, not the whole thing. Same with prayer. The moment you spoke it, God heard it. Your job isn't to panic when the plate doesn't show up instantly. Your job is to stay seated at the table. See, when you pray, God doesn't start figuring it out. He already got it mapped out. But he sees everything you don't. You're praying for the house, but you don't know the person living in it hasn't moved out yet. You're praying for that promotion, but the person above you hasn't retired yet. You're praying for that opportunity, but the connection you need to meet is still in a different city. Just because you don't see the wheels turning doesn't mean nothing's happening. Let me tell you something that most folks won't admit. Sometimes it's not the blessing that isn't ready. It's us. You're asking God for a new level, but still walking around with old habits. You're praying for a healthy relationship, but you're still healing from the last one. You're asking for more money, but you haven't learned how to manage what you already have. God ain't denying you. He's upgrading you before he delivers the package. I had moments in my life where I thought the door was shut permanently. I thought God was done with me because what I asked for didn't show up when I thought it should. I didn't know he was saving me from making a fool out of myself with a blessing I wasn't built to carry yet. Have you ever seen somebody win something they weren't mentally ready for and lose it just as fast? That's what God protects you from. He's not trying to withhold from you. He's trying to make sure what you prayed for doesn't destroy you when it arrives. And let's talk about silence for a second. Silence from God doesn't mean absence. Some of y'all think if you can't hear him, he's ignoring you. But the teacher is always quiet during the test. You think nothing's changing, but he might be changing you. You think the weight is empty, but he might be filling you up with what you're going to need when the blessing hits. People give up too fast. They think if something doesn't come quickly, it means it's not coming at all. But look at your own life. Some stuff you got now used to be a prayer years ago. There were things you used to beg for and then forgot you asked, but they came right when you needed them, not when you wanted them. That wasn't random. That was timing. The blessing ain't gone. The answer ain't no. You just haven't hit the moment where preparation meets release. The delay is proof that God is organizing what you asked for and organizing you to handle it. the worst thing you can do is quit before the delivery shows up. You don't throw away the seed because the tree didn't sprout in a week. You don't walk off the runway because the plane ain't in the sky yet. God isn't ignoring you. He's aligning you. The thing you asked for might already have your name on it. You just haven't stepped into the timing where it arrives. Let me tell you something a lot of people don't realize until life humbles them. Just because a door closes doesn't mean God told you no. Sometimes he's just steering you away from something that would have set you back or hurt you in a way you couldn't see coming. But we get so attached to what we want, how we planned it, the exact way we thought it should go, that the minute something falls apart, we take it personally. We think God said, you can't have it, when really he said, that ain't it. Have you ever been driving using GPS and you miss a turn or the road is blocked? What happens? The voice doesn't say, well, we're done. Figure it out. No, it says rerouting. That's what God does. You think a rejection letter, a breakup, a lost job, or a closed opportunity is God abandoning you. But what if he just rerouted you? What if the thing you're crying over was actually blocking you from something better? So many people think the setback is the end of the story. They think if that door closed, there must not be another one. But sometimes God closes the door you're banging on because he knows what's behind it. You're on the outside begging to get in, and he's protecting you from something you can't see. You're heartbroken over a relationship ending, but you don't know what that person was saying about you behind your back. You're upset you didn't get that job, but you didn't know the company was going to shut down a year later. You're frustrated that your plan fell apart, but God saw the part of the path you couldn't walk on. When I was younger, man, I used to get so mad when something I wanted slipped away. I thought I was being punished. I thought I did something wrong. I thought maybe God didn't care. But later on, looking back, I found out every no I thought was killing me was really saving me. I remember a comedy job I wanted so bad, though it was my big break, I didn't get it. I was mad at God like he forgot about me. A couple years later, found out that show ruined half the careers of the folks who said yes to it. That wasn't rejection. That was protection. Let me ask you something. Have you ever thanked God for something not working out? Do you only praise him when it goes how you wanted? Because sometimes the biggest blessing is what he blocked. You pray, God, open this door. And he's saying, not that one. That one got a trap behind it. You're trying to force your way in, and he's keeping you out because he sees what you don't. And I know what you're thinking. But, Steve, I don't see another option. I don't know where to go next.
Yeah.
Because you're still staring at the closed door. You're still trying to kick it down. You're so focused on what ended that you ain't even noticed the hallway you're standing in. Closed doors ain't a dead end. They're a signal to pivot. They are God's way of saying, not here, but keep walking. You got to stop measuring your worth by whether your plan works. You got to stop thinking every loss is a punishment. Some of y'all are attached to what you wanted so badly that you don't realize God is trying to give you something you didn't even think to pray for. You're crying over plan A when God already set up plan better. That detour you're on, that's not failure, that's the direction. That's God saying, I'm not rejecting you, I'm protecting you, I'm redirecting you, I'm setting you up to meet the right people, walk into the right room, be in the right place at the right time. But you'll miss it if you keep mourning something that was never meant to go the distance with you. The problem ain't that God said no. The problem is you didn't see the turn he was guiding you toward. Let me tell you something most people never understand while they're going through it. Waiting is not punishment. It's preparation. The reason some of you feel like God's holding out on you is because you think prayer is a drive-through window. You pull up, you place your order, and you expect it at the next stop. But God ain't fast food. He's a master builder. He's not interested in handing you something you ain't strong enough to carry yet. Everybody wants the blessing, but they don't want to become the person that a blessing requires. You are praying for a promotion, but you can't handle pressure. You can't handle pressure. You are asking for a spouse, but you ain't healed from the last breakup. You are asking for $1 million, but you don't know how to manage 100. See, when you pray for something big, God doesn't just deliver the blessing, He develops you to match it. The waiting season is where He tests what you're made of. You think He forgot you when He's really fortifying you. You think He's silent when He's actually stacking strength in your spirit. The weight of the blessing will crush you if the muscles of your character haven't been built yet. And you don't build muscle in comfort. You build it under resistance. Anybody can believe when things are moving. Real faith is built when you're praying and don't see a thing shifting. When the door you knocked on didn't open. When the email never came. When the phone stayed silent and you still kept showing up with hope. That's the part God looks at. Not your talent, not your education, not your connections, your endurance. It's like planting a seed. You bury it in the dirt, water it, walk away, and for weeks it looks like absolutely nothing is happening. You could stand over that ground and say, well, this was a waste. But underground, roots are spreading. The foundation is forming. It's growing downward before it grows upward. If it sprouted too soon, one gust of wind would knock it flat. That's you in the waiting room. You don't see what's happening. But God is rooting you deep so you don't fold the minute success shows up. We live in a world where everybody wants overnight results, overnight fame, overnight success, overnight breakthroughs. But let me tell you something. Anything that comes overnight can leave by morning. God don't do microwave miracles. He slow cooks. You look at somebody else's highlight reel thinking you're behind schedule. But you don't know what they had to survive to stand there. Or worse, maybe they got it before they were built for it, and now they're drowning behind closed doors. Your waiting season is not dead space. It's a training space. That heartbreak you went through taught you boundaries. That disappointment trained your perspective. That season of lack taught you discipline. That quiet time made you hear God clearer. Nothing you went through was random. Every delay had development in it. And let's talk about the attitude in the waiting. If you're bitter, complaining, comparing, or doubting the whole time, you slow down your own progress. God can't elevate you while you're still stuck in a mindset of lack. You want millionaire blessings with survival thinking. You want a healthy relationship with a broken identity. You want a bigger platform but still crumble under criticism. So He waits, not because He said no, but because He's not going to let you lose what you prayed for. People think waiting means nothing is happening, but waiting is where God watches how you handle the in-between. Do you stay faithful when nobody's clapping? Do you stay focused when there's no applause? Do you stay believing when the timeline doesn't make sense? That's the test, not to disqualify you, but to strengthen you. And you know what else? Some of you underestimate what you prayed for. You think you're waiting on the blessing, but the blessing is waiting on you to grow into it. God heard you the first time. He's not preparing the blessing. He's preparing you. So when it comes, you don't just receive it, you keep it, you sustain it, and you multiply it. Let me tell you something that'll change the way you look at your situation. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean God isn't moving. Some of y'all think the blessing ain't coming because it ain't visible yet. You think unanswered means denied. But what if the answer has already been released and you just haven't crossed paths with it yet? What if the thing you prayed for is in transit, but you're judging the journey by what you can see right now? You ever order something online and it doesn't show up that day, but you don't panic. You don't throw a fit. You don't call the company screaming, I guess the package doesn't exist. No, you know it's on the way. You trust the process because you placed the order. But when it's God, we act like our prayer got lost in the system. You didn't lose the blessing. You just haven't arrived at the moment where you meet it. Listen, you don't see all the things God is arranging behind the scenes. He might be working on 10 different people just to get one promise to you. You are crying because the opportunity hasn't shown up, but the meeting that leads to the opportunity hasn't happened yet. You're frustrated because the answer isn't visible, but you don't know the call is scheduled for next month. The room is being prepared next week. The person who's going to help you is about to cross your path in a way you couldn't script. The problem is we think delay equals denial. We think silence equals absence. But in reality, most of what God is doing for you starts before you ever see a hint of it. Think about construction. You walk past a plot of land and it looks empty for months. But underground, they're laying the plumbing, the wiring, the foundation. You don't see the building until the hard part is done. Same thing with prayer. The foundation of your answer is being built where you can't see it. Somebody watching this right now is about to give up because you think nothing is happening. But I'm telling you, the wheels are turning. There are conversations happening about you that you haven't heard yet. There are rooms being opened that you haven't walked into yet. There are blessings moving in your direction that haven't hit your street yet. The package didn't disappear. You're just not at the doorstep when it arrives. And let me remind you of this. Your timing ain't God's timing. You think he's slow because he didn't deliver on your deadline. But sometimes he slows down the answer because rushing it would ruin it. If he gave it to you too soon, it might slip right through your fingers. If he connected you too fast, you might choose wrong. If he opened the door early, you might lack the confidence or maturity to hold the room. He's not stalling you. He's sensing you up with what you prayed for. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you look back on something and realize it showed up at the exact moment you needed it, not when you wanted it? You thought God was late, but he was precise. You thought he said no, but he was aligning at the right time, the right people, the right place. You didn't see the setup until it hit your hands. And here's something else. You got to stop letting your emotions tell you what God is doing. You feeling discouraged doesn't mean the answer disappeared. You being tired doesn't mean the blessing is canceled. Your fear doesn't override God's plan. Faith ain't about what you see. It's about trusting what you can't see yet. There are times where the answer is already in motion, but God needs you in position before it meets you. You're thinking, why hasn't it happened yet? And God's saying, because I need you to be at the right level when it arrives. See, the blessing doesn't chase confusion. It meets alignment. So before you say, God said no, understand this. Just because you haven't seen it yet doesn't mean he hasn't spoken it into existence. Some blessings don't show up until you walk to the intersection where timing meets obedience. The answer may not knock on your door. It might be waiting down the road around the corner in a conversation you ain't had yet, in a place you haven't gone yet, in a version of you that's still being built. So before you let doubt talk you out of what you asked God for, pause and think, how many times has something shown up in your life after you already assumed it was over? How many doors opened after you cried? Maybe it wasn't meant for me. You were standing in the hallway thinking the answer was no, when the door was actually being unlocked on the other side. God doesn't scratch your name off a blessing just because you got tired waiting on it. He didn't cancel the promise because you couldn't see the progress. What he spoke is still active, even in the silence. Right now, heaven might be arranging the final pieces. The people tied to your breakthrough could be getting positioned. The opportunity could be shifting closer. Your own mindset might be the last thing God is preparing. But don't confuse movement you can't see with a miracle that doesn't exist. Silence is not shut down. Delay is not denial. And timing is not rejection. Before you assume God said no, remember this. What feels paused to you might be in motion in a way only God can track. Stay expectant, stay aligned, stay ready, because the answer might already have your name on it and just be waiting for you to meet it.